How is it possible for there to be international trade? Ports with the capacity to process thousands of containers at once are essential. If you previously believed that airplanes are used to transport products, you will be disappointed to learn that this is not the case. Ships are used to both purchase and transport goods, which results in significant cost savings. However, as of late, nearly every nation has reported that its ports are becoming increasingly congested. If a nation like China were to experience this, the economic situation there would deteriorate. In light of this, what steps is China taking to ensure that it will continue to send and receive hundreds of ships carrying thousands of containers throughout the course of the year? What do you think of the concept of constructing a superport unlike any other that costs $12 billion? Before we go on, subscribe to this channel to watch about the most shocking and amazing world projects. Ready? Let's begin! You are about to watch a video that will show you what gigantic structure China is constructing to ensure the continuity of its trade and the smooth flow of tens of billions of dollars in revenue. Stay with the video until the very end if you want to know everything there is to know about this superport. Let's get started. China is a nation that reaped significant rewards as a direct result of the Industrial Revolution. Before about 40 years ago, China did not have the same level of development as it does today. The vast majority of China's people lived in rural areas, and the country had relatively few operational factories at the time. But after that, things started to alter. China became aware of the Industrial Revolution and quickly joined other nations in their quest to become a dominant economic force. It made use of all of the knowledge and strategies that countries such as Britain and the United States had developed through experience and trial and error in the past. As a result, China became the world's second-largest economy in less than half a century, rather than taking hundreds of years to accomplish this feat. However, one fact that is not widely known is that the reason China's economy is expanding is not because it is producing more. Rather, it is expanding because it is able to sell those products in international markets, which is contributing to its growth. In other words, China does not produce $1 trillion, $1 billion worth of goods for its own citizens. Instead, it is responsible for their production for the outside world. And what if it lacked the resources necessary to engage in commerce? As a result of its dominance over port facilities, China is in a position to send thousands of ships carrying thousands of containers that contain billions of dollars worth of goods. China is able to engage in commerce with the rest of the world thanks to its extensive network of ports, which includes 2,000 minor ports and 34 major ports. Nevertheless, they have all been successful up until the present time, when Chinese factories have surpassed their ports in terms of productivity. Now that factories in China are producing more goods than these ports can handle, the construction of an enormous superport is required. This is where the import from China comes into play. A total of $18 billion was allocated for the building of the Yongsan Port, which is located in Shanghai. The port is unlike any other in the world and has the capacity to handle thousands of containers using automated technology, which elevates it to the status of the planet's superport or megaport. This is due to the port's enormous size. It was decided that the Yongsan Port would be constructed in stages. The port would gradually expand as a result of these phases, which would also increase the area covered. A great sensation has been generated as a result of the fourth phase of Yongsan Port's development, which combines various technologies in order to facilitate efficient trade. Specifically for this fourth phase, which entails nothing more than the development of a brand new port, China has provided approximately $12 billion in funding. President Xi Jinping's goals for China included elevating the country to a position of economic preeminence across all sectors of commerce. He was willing to build a large number of superports across China so that they could contribute to the success of China's Road and Belt Initiative. But what is it about Zhongshan Port that sets it apart from ports located all over the world? It would be interesting to know the answer. To begin, Yangshan Port is the largest port in the world and will be capable of handling the greatest number of containers in a single year in 2021 on its own. This port continued to handle over 22.81 million use or 20-foot equivalent containers, the industry standard for measuring container capacity, even after the volume of trade had decreased. Yongsan Port is the only one of its kind, but what sets it apart from other ports is not just its capacity for handling containers. because it is the only port in the world equipped with the intelligent and automatic technology necessary to handle containers. This particular port is unique, utilizing automatic handlers in the process. In the fourth phase, the primary emphasis was placed not only on the extension of the area, but also on the integration of intelligent and autonomous technologies. Unbelievably, just the fourth phase of Junction Port's development had a total yearly throughput of 5.7 TUs, together with 6 super distant intelligent command and control centers. Each and every container is capable of being automatically loaded and emptied. Even China has introduced a driverless vehicle equipped with 5G technology and Level 4 autonomy, with the goal of liberating the entire process from the influence of civilized man. These robotic handlers are able to manage, load, and unload any and all ships that arrive at Yongsan Port, making the procedure both quick and effective. There are thousands of containers, but the lines don't become clogged up. Instead, autonomous vehicles take them to the warehouses where they are arranged in a perfect line for customers to pick up. This only indicates that the Yongsan Port will continue operating continuously throughout the day and night regardless of whether or not there is anyone present at the port. Because of this, Junction Port is the largest port in the world capable of handling containers in a way that no other port can. But what precipitated China's unexpected decision to construct such a sizable port? Attention-seeking behavior would be to give more than $1 billion to a single port. Nevertheless, it is quite clear why China is acting in this manner. Because of its unequaled industrial prowess, China enjoys a competitive advantage. It is necessary to construct infrastructures that can facilitate the trading process and keep up with the capabilities of production if it is to be able to export these goods to the rest of the globe. If Chinese manufacturers are generating huge quantities of goods that need to be delivered, then China needs to build ports that are able to handle the shipping of those goods. This is not a difficult philosophy to grasp, as it is not very complicated. China is boosting the capacity of the facility that brings in money, much like the United States is raising its oil and gas processing capacity. On the other hand, the Yongsan Port is developing into a danger. Obviously not for China, but rather for the Republic of Singapore. An estimate suggests that the Yongsan Port will result in annual income losses for Singapore of $100 billion. The reason for this is because in the past, China did not have a facility capable of handling a large number of container shipments. On the other hand, Singapore was in a very advantageous position strategically to be the trade center. The majority of ships from Asia would travel via Singapore's harbor, which would increase the country's potential for both influence and financial gain. But now that China has its big superport, all of the weight would be moved, and Singapore would be left without the additional benefit of processing containers. With the addition of a superport like Shenyang Port, China has become the only country in the world to own such an extensive network of ports. There are no bounds to China's ability to increase its income and further its dominance in international commerce. What do you think about this project? Share your opinion in comments. Also, click on this video to watch about another amazing project.